Happy Wonderful Wednesday, boys and girls. So yes, we are still dealing with the same standard. The standard is S4E3, obtain, evaluate, and communicate information to demonstrate the water cycle. For today's lesson with the water cycle, we're going to do a little bit of hands-on instruction today. So I am going to do an experiment with the water cycle to demonstrate or model how the water cycle works. So here is the first part of our science experiment, our hands-on activity. So I am demonstrating evaporation. Evaporation was created when I added water to the pot, and I also put salt into the pot, just like the ocean has salt water. So the heat causes the water to rise and cause a water vapor, which is evaporation. We have evaporation that is happening in the water cycle. So here is the next part of the experiment. So I placed ice into another pot to cool the water vapor. And remember, now the water vapor, once it is cooled, it is going to turn into droplets. So if you look close, we have droplets forming on the outside of this pot. Those droplets are condensing. So we have condensation going on the outside of the pot. So the next part, after the droplets form on the outside of the top part where we have condensation, those droplets are going to start to build up, and they're going to get heavier and heavier on the outside, and they are going to drop into the bottom part. That is where we will have precipitation. So it may take a second for it to happen, but when those droplets fall from the outside of the top pot into the bottom part, that is when we have precipitation. All right, I see a few droplets falling. Okay, boys and girls, I just demonstrated 3 parts of the water cycle. I demonstrated evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. I demonstrated evaporation by heating a pot of salt water, and that water turned into a water vapor. So in that demonstration, I showed you evaporation. Next, I put a second pot above the bottom pot that had ice in it. Doing that part, those water vapors started to cool and form droplets on the outside of the top pot. Doing that part, we had condensation. And lastly, I showed precipitation by, as those droplets continue to form on the outside of the top pot, those droplets got heavier and heavier, and they dropped and fell back into the second pot, or the bottom pot. And during that time, when those droplets fell into the bottom pot, we had precipitation. I hope you were paying attention. We're going to see how well you paid attention on your quiz in just a few minutes.